Hey guys, Dill Digger here. It is the 22nd of August. I'm waited a few days to do this video. Um, I basically went to a beach that I normally go to, and it was sanded in. So I actually found some good stuff. But this video is mainly going to be a learning lesson or tips, I guess you could say, for metal detecting. But first, I'm going to show you my personal best find. Alright? So I went to my normal beach that I go to. Alright? And this is all I dug. Now this is what I would refer to as a sanded in beach. Alright? These are all fresh drops and whatnot. So I got 3 pennies, a phone that was working, but the battery signal came on. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll charge it up, try to find the owner. As soon as I put it in the rice, I woke up in the morning. Now it doesn't work. So apparently it was kind of waterproof and it just died. It will not charge right now. I did dig up a pendant that I thought was going to be good. It's very heavy, but it's stainless. It is stamped with a lat and long and a weird number and symbol little thing up here. You have to have a loop to look at it, but no name, so I don't know who the owner is. But that's kind of cool. I found that in a little shell layer. And I'm going to count it, but this is actually ring 140, and I found it on the surface. It is a ceramic ring, and there is a spot in here where it's marked CER somewhere. Yeah, I won't zoom in. I think it's right there. But a ceramic ring. So that's kind of cool. It was actually right on the surface. I thought it was a shell at first, and put my finger in. I was like, oh, it's a ring. Now for my personal best find. Check it out, guys. Whoa. And she is real. I clocked it with my scoop right there at the 20 and right over there by the 10. That's exactly where I hit it too, and I actually popped off the bezel, messed up the little spring in there, and I fixed it up. I took it to a certified dealer, and he looked at it, weighed it, and it's authentic. It's a Rolex Submariner. So that's my best find, besides my gold coin, which is currently getting a new bezel. But as far as money-wise, that right there is my personal best. Now for a little lesson of how I'm finding all this stuff and all the rings. So, metal detecting, it's all about science and density. So for most beaches, this is how it goes. You'll have your normal sand layer. In California, we have a lot of kelp. So right underneath the sand is where most of this kelp will just will sit, and then it will decompose kind of, and that will kind of turn into like a gray brown muck. And then right under that's going to be like the shell layer. Every beach is different, but this is 95% of the beaches here in California. And then right underneath that shell layer, you're going to get what I call the black muck, all right, or black sand. There's some little pebbles in there and shells. Normally it's kind of hard to dig in unless you're in the water. But it's kind of normally hard to dig in, and as soon as you break that surface, it stinks. And then right under that is going to be the rocks and what I call sticky sand, where it will be clumps of clay. You'll notice it will really stick to your scoop. And then you got your clay and bedrock. Every beach is different, but this is pretty much 95% of the beaches here in California. But you got to think about it, all right? Lead and gold are very heavy. So if you're detecting and you start digging up old weights, especially handmade weights like this one, you want to slow down, all right? Because there will be gold right next to it, all right? Just got to slow it down. Even some old silver coins. All right, you let the targets that you're digging up show you what's there. All right, listen to them. Even if you're finding newer weights, if they're big weights, they've sunk through these layers. Some of them could be fresh, depending if a lot of people fish there. A lot of our beaches, not many people surf fish. So if you start finding weights, especially when they're old and kind of cruddy like this, definitely slow down. Alright? So with all this in mind, you want to try to read the beach. I mean, you could be lucky and you can find a fresh drop. Like I got this was a fresh drop, even though it was kind of mucky and dirty and all that, but it was still on a sanded in beach. If you want to find the old stuff, which is what I like to do, you got to learn to read the beach. So this is like a normal beach here in California, or it also can be considered sanded in. So you'll have your dry sand, right? There'll be a nice little towel line. The kelp and seaweed will always be right here whenever it washes up. A lot of people will put their towel ahead of it or below it, depending on what the tide is. So you could get fresh drops there. Then you get your slope where the tide could come up on high tide, slack tide, and low tide will be about right here. And then you get your little flattened out area where it's just wet sand, maybe it's ankle deep water and all that. All right. Whenever it's low tide, even if it's 2 in the morning, I like to hunt right before it, and right at low tide, I'll actually go into the water a bit. I found a lot of targets that way. I don't know. It's just every target getting washed around seems to be in about this area. Because if you got to think, when it's high tide, that's about the spot where people were surfing or swimming. It's right around here anyways. So that's where most of the stuff is dropped. Now, a good example of a honey hole. And why I love hunting these is that's where you're going to find the weights in the gold. So you're going to notice that last beach, this is the same beach in the example. All right, so there's normally a slope coming down this way. Well, now you notice there's a steeper slope. You start seeing shells and rocks shells and rocks. Even sometimes brick. Brick is also a good indication in oceans. Kind of similar to hunting in the woods. If you see brick, oh, there's got to be a housing foundation. You see brick with the rocks, slow it down. You never know what you're going to find. But as you notice, there's a big cut here. It's from the waves breaking and just dragging the sand out, kind of filling up the sandbar right here. So this is at low tide. Imagine low tide, and all of a sudden you still see water. And then you see like little sandbar or hump, shallower water, and then you get back to your normal slope. This right here will be a very strong current most of the time. At low tide, it'll be the least, but as the tide's coming in and leaving, this is just constantly moving, kind of like a big whirlpool. Unless it's a channel, which I'll get to that as well. But this is where you're going to find most of the rocks that have came from up here, right here, with all the clay and weights. This is where you're going to find most of your stuff. All right. Now to look for these said honey holes, you need to read the beach. And this is what I call reading the beach. So this is just the sand, dry sand, slope, whatever you want to call it. Imagine this being a mile, maybe not even, just 1,000-foot stretch, all right? You will see a bow. All right, now a bow doesn't always mean that there's going to be targets there. It doesn't mean there's going to be a hole, but it could be just a spot where the waves decided to crash and do a little erosion. A key player in this is if you can see like sandbars or normal waves, try to read the waves. So in this case, there would be small breaking waves, which is common. But then you notice it's a little bit more rougher in this area. All right, and you can actually read the sea foam, I guess you could say, the foam that's crashing over. You'll see them. Will be a little current. Maybe it'll be a circle, or maybe it'll just come in and just come out like a big U. That's just the undertow or the current just eroding all that sand out, and all the heavy targets are going to be right there. Definitely, you want to slow down and go in there. Try to hide from the lifeguard, because they will yell at you, because typically this is where they do not want people to swim. But I always go out with buddies at night, not only for protection, but also for safety. We'll hunt the honey holes, and that's where we've been finding all types of stuff, like myself, the Silver Sniffer, Pro Cali Adventures. This is where we found so many honey holes just back to back, the same beach. They just move. And that's where we've been finding gold rings, my gold teeth, all types of weird stuff like that. And another example, which is kind of just like what New Hampshire Metal Detecting just uploaded his latest video, is what I like to call a channel. All right. So a channel, you're going to have your dry sand, your slope. Sometimes there'll be rocks right here on the slope as well. It's kind of steep. And then you'll kind of see the same thing, but instead of a hole, it'll be just a straight channel or a river. Right? Same deal. You want to slow down. You might want to get out, walk in the dry, and just keep going like this, because that current is going to kick your butt. It's going to be hard to move your scoop. It's going to be a really strong current. And you might even want to strap your detector to you. All right, so keep in mind, try to look for these areas as well. Sometimes this will be a beginning stage. It'll be like a trough still, like little divots. Still hunt it, because that's actually going to be where most of the erosion is, so the most potential at finding targets. But all the ones I've seen over here, just like this, you can see, and sometimes you can even hear from outside the water. You hear the rocks just going over each other, and there's all sorts of targets in there. And my other favorite type of beach to hunt, it's actually a pre-stage to a channel as well as a honey hole, is what I call scallops, or scalloping. All right, so it's going to be the same deal. It's normally right at the surf break, right where the slope evens out. You'll start seeing little bows, or what I call scallops. You'll notice that these little bows, the deepest spot will be right in there. And sometimes there's rocks, and sometimes it goes down all the way to the clay or bedrock, depending on where you're at. Definitely slow down and hunt all of it. And don't worry about focusing on the deep area, because actually some of that stuff will get kicked up into the shallow part of it too. It's just constantly going in and out, in and out, in and out. So always definitely read the beach and try to look for new areas. If it's not a normal trend, definitely slow down and try to dig it. And you'll end up with the gold stuff. Alright guys, I hope that helped. I'm trying to go hunt right now. It's almost midnight. Low tide's in about 4 hours. But there's a ring return. I really want to try to find really, really big time sentimental value. If I find it, I'm definitely going to do a video. Until next time guys, good luck, happy hunting, and always dig it. Also, for the contest winners, the coins will be shipped out to you tomorrow. So keep a look in your mailbox, all right? It's going to be standard shipping. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'll message you with the details. All right, guys, until next time.